Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 2nd of September. India can create history with Japan, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Pakistan government hints at crackdown on protesters to tackle ongoing political crisis. And Sri Lankan court permits deportation of Pakistani asylum seekers. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday said New Delhi and Tokyo can create history in economic sector. He also urged the Japanese business community to invest in Indian manufacturing industry.
Carrying forward his Independence Day message of Made in India, Make in India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said there is no better place than his country for Japanese investors. Addressing a delegation of businessmen in Tokyo, Prime Minister Modi said India will give a red carpet welcome to investors.
आज भारत में रेड टैप नहीं, रेड कारपेट है और ये रेड कारपेट आपका इंतजार कर रही है। हमने इतना ईज ऑफ बिजनेस के लिए इतने सारे नए रेगुलेशंस को लिबरल कर दिया है और आखिरकार व्यापारी को, उद्योगकार को, इन्वेस्टर को एक सिक्योरिटी चाहिए, उसको एक प्रॉपर ग्रो करने के लिए एनवायरनमेंट चाहिए। आज भारत किसी को भी आकर के ग्रो करने के लिए प्रॉपर एनवायरनमेंट के लिए बहुत तेज गति से आगे चल रहा है।
Modi also called for better cooperation between the two countries in the field of information technology.
हमारे नौजवान सॉफ्टवेयर के क्षेत्र में एक बहुत बड़ी पहचान बनाई है। आपने हार्डवेयर में अपनी ताकत बनाई है, लेकिन सॉफ्टवेयर हार्डवेयर के बिना अधूरा है, हार्डवेयर सॉफ्टवेयर के बिना अधूरा है। भारत के टैलेंट का सॉफ्टवेयर, आपकी बुद्धिमानी और मेहनत और बिजनेस एक्यूमेंट के कारण तैयार हुआ हार्डवेयर, अगर ये मेलजोल हो जाए, आप विश्व के अंदर एक बहुत बड़ा मिरेकल कर सकते हैं।
The Indian Premier is on a 5-day visit to Japan as part of widening bilateral relations. Both countries have agreed to strengthen strategic relations in fields like security and defense during what is being called as Modi's first major international visit. Japan has also agreed to double its investment in India in the next 5 years after it touched $1.4 billion in 2013-14.
Refusing to give in to growing anti-government protests across the country, Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif categorically rejected the suggestion of leaving office under pressure. This comes as he chaired a joint session of Parliament amid ongoing crisis on Tuesday.
A day after seeking an opinion on how it can intervene in the ongoing political crisis in Pakistan, the Supreme Court on Tuesday issued notices to all major political parties to end the deadlock. The court said all constitutional measures should be used to end the continuing stalemate. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has decided to face the growing protest head-on. Amid growing speculation about him resigning following a meeting with Army Chief General Rahil Sharif on Monday, the Prime Minister's office rejected reports that the army had asked Sharif to quit. The government has, however, hinted that it is ready to carry out a selective crackdown on protesters, with demonstrations taking a violent turn.
If not mass arrest, at least the selective force of use of force can be done today, and but we'll still be very careful that the situation doesn't aggravate.
The nearly 3-week-long protests are also showing no signs of slowing down either. Cricketer turned politician Imran Khan said Sharif has no right to continue as the Prime Minister.
आपकी इनिंग्स खत्म हो गई है, आप पवेलियन में वापस क्यों नहीं जा रहे, क्यों जिद कर रहे हो?
The Pakistani capital has been witnessing hitherto unseen protests seeking the removal of the Sharif government. Both Imran Khan and Tahirul Qadri have vowed to stay on the streets until Sharif announces his resignation, bringing the governance in the country to a virtual halt.
All efforts to form a consensus government to succeed outgoing President Hamid Karzai has failed. Mohammad Mohaqqaq, one of Abdullah Abdullah's vice presidential running mates, has said Mohakek blamed the Ashraf Ghani camp for continued deadlock over the powers of the chief executive post brokered by US Secretary of State John Kerry. President Karzai, who led the turbulent Afghanistan for 13 years, had last week announced that he will relinquish office on Tuesday, but had to hold his decision after the United Nations said it needed another week to complete the process of audit of the June 14 runoff vote. One of the contenders, Abdullah, had pulled out of the process being supervised by the UN after non-fulfillment of his alleged demands. A Sri Lankan court on Monday granted government the permission to deport Pakistani minority asylum seekers. This comes even as international organizations, including the United Nations, express apprehensions of their safety back home.
The court allowed the appeal filed by the Sri Lankan government, which sought deportation of Pakistan nationals citing threat to national security and public health. The court had on August 15th ordered a temporary stopping of the process after outcry from international organizations over deportation of 108 people, including women and children, who were sent back ever since the beginning of the month. The United Nations High Commission for Refugees had criticized the country's move, calling it a violation of the international law on asylum seekers, and demanded the Sri Lankan government to immediately halt the deportations. Lanka, however, denied of any violations since the country is not a signatory to the 1951 UN Refugee Convention. Currently, there are almost 1,800 refugees and asylum seekers, including Pakistanis, Afghans, Iranians and Palestinians in Sri Lanka. The majority are from Pakistan, including about 1,500 Christians and members of the Ahmadiyya and Shia Muslim religious sects who sought refuge there after being subjected to religious persecution in the Sunni-dominant country.
Kashmiris who left their homes in Jammu and Kashmir and migrated to Pakistan now regret the decision. After luring them with promises of a better life, Pakistan has failed to provide them with even basic necessities.
Kashmiris who left their hearth and home in India's northern state of Jammu and Kashmir feel they were worse off than in India. Dubbed as Muhajirs, Kashmiris in the Pakistani-controlled Kashmir are considered second-class citizens and have not been granted domicile status so far. Many yearn to return to their homeland in India, but allege the local authorities are not letting them do so.
मैं नौकर हां जनाब ऐसी गल नहीं मगर मैनू जनाब इस वेले जिस वे कश्मीर दा नाम पैंदा मैनू जनाब अग निकल गईंदी है आसियां के जनाब बन के गया मैं शायद मेरे ख्याल मैनू तो यही समझ आंदी है असा मैनू कोई अपनी गुनाह दी शामत आसी जिस नाल जनाब मैं पटे गया जनाब जिस ए आके जनाब रूड़ियां पर फिरन लग गया.
A part of the erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, POK has been under the Pakistani rule for over 6 decades now. Pakistan refers to POK as Azad Kashmir or Free Kashmir, but Kashmiris say Pakistani security agencies have a stranglehold on the remote region. Many who migrated after 1990 were offered 6% reservation in government jobs, but this has only remained on paper. Instead of employment, education and a better life, they have ended up in shanties that dot the landscape of capital Muzaffarabad.
इतना कोई चीज नहीं है ना माँ बहन जना महफूज है ना असली इज्जत महफूज है ना किसी चीज की इज्जत महफूज नहीं है गवर्नमेंट ही नहीं है गवर्नमेंट जरा जो आधा चोर बैठ गए.
The Muhajirs are not allowed to enter mosques or offer prayers along with others here. The segregation is not confined to matters of faith. Their children are denied entry to schools too.
उधर से हर रिश्तेदार दे जाते से ओ आंदे से ना संदे इधर किधर जावां ना इधर कोई रिश्तेदार ना इधर कोई और मारे गवा बस एक दिन उन्होंने मिल जावां भाई मर जावां कोई बात नहीं एक दिन मुलाकात कर लेवां भाया नाल भरावां नाल बहना नाल कैंपटी बेले बस फिर मरना मंजूर मरना लगा फिर मुलाकात होना चाहिए बस.
The Muhajirs have taken out several protest marches to highlight what they term as the great betrayal of Kashmiris. They have been demanding from the Pakistani government to fulfill its promise of allotting them basic facilities of life and subsistence allowances.
The Narendra Modi-led BJP government in India marked 100 days in office on Tuesday. The party stormed into power with the promise to re-energize the Indian economy, boost jobs and eliminate corruption. A report.
He promised to end government paralysis as soon as he took over as Indian Prime Minister, and Narendra Modi got down to work immediately with a hand-picked cabinet. Checking inflation, ending corruption, making India a manufacturing destination and providing jobs to millions have been some of Mr. Modi's top priorities. The government has sped up clearance for infrastructure projects and been bullish when it comes to foreign policy. But 100 days on, while it's clear working is being done in earnest, results are not yet showing. Inflation still hovers at just under 8% and no big-ticket reforms have been announced. Some observers are urging patience.
I think any new government must be, I believe, given 6 months to get their act together. Modi is a doer and he's come in, wanting to hit the ground running.
Industrialists and supporters of the BJP argue the Narendra Modi government should be judged on intention rather than concrete policy measures, as 100 days is too short a time period to gauge a government's effectiveness. The major opposition, the Congress party, is not quite so forgiving, attacking the government's inability to control communal clashes in the country.
Overall, there has been a policy paralysis on every front. So therefore, in essence, the last 3 months actually marks the increase of communal tension and the complete neglect and the complete absence of governance in this country.
The Prime Minister has made several promises. While they may not have been delivered as yet, there is frenetic activity in government offices around the country to get the economy back on an upward trajectory. Central to this momentum is the leadership style of Narendra Modi, very visible, something that's been lacking in recent years. Smita Prakash for South Asia Newsline in New Delhi.
They might be the busiest in their own light, but these Bollywood celebs need no push to appease their favorite god. Take a look at who all are turning devotional this festive season.
The ongoing festival of Ganesh Mahotsav is getting a starry tint, with top Bollywood celebs taking time off to be a part of the revelry. The 10-day festival that kicked off on Friday with Ganesh Chaturthi has already seen top actors bringing out their devotional side. Actors like Vivek Oberoi, Ravi Kishan, Jitendra and Tushar Kapoor kept their prayers indoors by welcoming the deity amid pomp and show. Neil, Nitin, Mukesh and Govinda also stuck to celebrating with their families. They said Lord Ganesh residing in their homes was an emotional time of the year.
Ganesh Mahotsav is an extremely special one for all of us, Mumbai ka especially. हम लोग बचपन से देखते आ रहे हैं अपने दोस्तों के घरों में, कभी-कभी अपने घरों में, तो I think हमारे लिए, मेरे परिवार के लिए तो बहुत स्पेशल है.
जो हर साल मांगते हैं वही मांगा और कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं. जो उनको मर्जी हो भगवान को, जो वो समझे कि हमें मिलना चाहिए, वही काफ़ी है.
For the rest, it was an exuberant moment. Many took to song and dance to express their jubilance. Divas Shilpa Shetty and Sonali Bendre stuck to marking the occasion amid loud celebrations. Actors Hrithik Roshan, Amisha Patel and Anil Kapoor also didn't mind the public frenzy as they took to the streets of Mumbai, enjoying one of the biggest festivals in western Maharashtra. Celebrated as a rebirth of Lord Ganesh, devotees believe the god of wisdom, prosperity and good fortune bestows his presence on earth during this auspicious occasion. Many also put up idols in their homes, believing that the Ganesh will take away all their misfortunes when he departs at the end of the festival. The fiesta culminates with immersion of the idols in water bodies, symbolizing Lord Ganesh's journey to his home in Mount Kailash.
That's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. India can create history with Japan, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Pakistan government hints at crackdown on protesters to tackle ongoing political crisis. And Sri Lankan court permits deportation of Pakistani asylum seekers. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.